All right, this is L. Jermaine Russell. I am here on July 19th, 2020, just one day before the stock market opens. I'm still on the West Coast and, dealing with this time frame, my body sees that it is 7:30, 7, but it is really in my mind that it's 10:37, meaning that there is roughly 7 hours before the market opens. So I just want to make sure that I put this video out prior to anything happening when the market does open. Just to give some type of validity or some type of context to how this EMA hack kind of works. So there's quite a couple of stocks that I'm looking at for Monday that has exponential chance of running sometime during the week. And if the volume goes the way that it looks like, it will go a lot higher. Now, if you haven't done so, please click like or subscribe to my channel. I tend to put out videos like this that are geared around, specific stocks or something in the health field, meaning that, workout and stuff like that. Things just to make you healthy, because health is the real wealth, and keeping a clear mind is definitely sound. So with that being said, like I said, there's a couple of stocks that I believe that will go up a little bit higher. Just to give you an example, OBLG was one of those stocks that I said in a chat group that, hey, this stock can go a little bit higher. And it was around this time here because it had this little gap up here. I didn't know it was going to do this. And when it did that, it did pull back, as you can tell. It met some resistance here at 179 and 179 over here, or 180. It's the same thing, right? But so it is hit it and it came back down. And as you can see, that it held above the 50 EMA, the 100 and the 200 EMA prior to going back up. I totally left this alone. Didn't think that, it really had that much leg. But I underestimated because I was looking at other stuff as well. So I just really underestimated this stock. So with that being said, I could still see this kind of moving a little bit higher. It's already overbought, so I'm not really too interested in it. When I say overbought, I'm looking at the RSI. So the RSI, the RSI suggests that the strength is overbought, but there's no way for me to tell that it can't go to the next resistance, which might be close to $4. And the reason why I say that is because of some resistance area over here, some resistance area over here, and over here. I don't know. Maybe it might go to 380. I still don't know. But I still don't think that this is something that I would invest in, or at least trade. If it was right around here, maybe. If I was buying in the low ones, then maybe for sure. So let me go to MBIO, and I just want to reiterate, this is all technical. Like, this is technical. That's it, right? So technically, I'm not one to like stocks that doesn't look like it does anything, like this, flat like this. But when it is finding some type of spark above the EMAs, specifically the 50 EMA. This one is right at the 200 EMA, so I'm not 100% sure how this is going to work. Maybe it might still find this resistance at this 350 area, but I'm not 100% sure. I know that the 200 EMA, anytime when there's a spike that occurs above the 200 EMA, it tends to get slammed back down. So I would think that this is going to trade around this 320, 350 area until the 50 EMA crosses over the 200 EMA. So the 50 EMA is at 316. So if I was in MBIO, I would like to have my price in at around 316, 315, 320, somewhere around there. 350 might be a little bit high, but it looks like that it's trying to find some type of momentum with the volume that is kicking in. 3.5 million traded on Friday. The day before that, it was 600,000. Day before that, still around 600,000, 500,000, 900,000, 500,000. So really it just depends on the volume on this one. Next, I would like to take a gander at ABIO, which also looks very intriguing to me, being the fact that the selling pressure is starting to die down here. And not only that the selling pressure has died down, but that the chart has shown that it is holding slightly above the gap that it filled up from May 27th to May 28th. So it's kind of holding that support there, and the EMAs are kind of there as well, maintaining that support. The 50 EMA is above the 100 and the 200 EMA, with the 100 slightly above the 200. So with this being said, I wouldn't be surprised if that this crosses 710, the right amount of volume, that it goes a little bit higher. But we wanted to check out that the float size on ABIO is at 3.4 million, while it traded on Friday at 4 million, and then before that it traded at just below 600,000, traded at 600,000 the next day. Before that, 500,000, which is below 600,000, and then 2 million at that point where it did have that little spike. So I'm not 100% sure how this would go a little bit higher, if it would, but I can sense that sometime this week there might be a little spike with ABIO. GOSS, GOSS, and I just want to say that I have not done any background work on these stocks at all. So when I say background work, I mean looking at what their story really is. I am clearly only going off the technicals. So this one is a clear example of how we need the EMAs to be a little bit closer to each other. I just want to use this one as a point of reference, because even though that it did have a nice spike here and 1.2 million was traded, it doubled the amount of volume traded from Thursday going into Friday. But because of this, I would suggest that there might be, even though it might but actually spike up a little bit, it's close to being overbought, but not quite. But the momentum is starting to be bullish. That week, I can kind of anticipate a little bit of pullback before there is a spike up. The 50 EMA is about $1. It's around what, 13? What is the price point on that? 12.90. The 200 EMA is at 14.56. So this is a little over $1.50 in difference. So just know that this could be $1.50 difference in between the EMAs, so that there might be a little bit of a range buying between this stock. So I don't know if it's going to go a little bit higher, just because this 200 EMA typically slams down a price like it did over here. Did that over here, came right back down. So let me see if we'll see during the week if this will happen. But I wanted to definitely put this in here as perspective. AIKI is definitely another one, but that's kind of similar to GOSS. The 50 EMA is at 82 cents, while the 200 EMA is at 95 cents. So that's about 13 cents worth of difference. I can see this, with the right amount of volume, that it would test the $2 resistance. We still have some momentum going, buying momentum, bullish momentum going in that direction, and it's not overbought. So this could show some type of upside. I would not be surprised if it came down on Monday or anytime this week, but because of that little 13 cents, 14 cent trading distance between the 50 and the 200, I anticipate this gap being closed just a little bit, so the 50 can cross over the 200 and start to go a little bit higher. And that depends on also news and volume and those things like that, right? So we're starting to see, hopefully you're starting to see a little bit of difference when it comes to these EMA hacks that I've been kind of talking about for the past couple of weeks. Here with CHCI, I know I bought this before, and I really did not do well on it, because I just and sell this. Actually, let's investigate that trade, right? I lost what, $1.50 a share on this one, but we go back. It was probably more me not wanting to sell in the free market, because yeah. So I bought in the after hours. All right, I bought in the after hours, and even though it was starting still to come down, and I bought when it was already high up, like it was already overbought in itself on the hour chart, and then on the hour chart, and you have to use all the charts in sequence with each other. The minute chart is where you want to buy at, and then the hour chart, what does it look like long distance? That will it have the opportunity to carry out longer for the next hour or days, maybe even weeks, right? So the minute chart is definitely the point that you want to look at on when you want to buy, but the hour, the day chart, times after that, that's what you want to look at and see where these red candlesticks starts to pop up. And the red candlesticks was popping up and causing the stock to decline. So I could have sold here, right? Even if I sold here at this $4 area, I would have not have lost as much, but clearly I held it a little bit longer than necessary. So with that being said, we are now looking at it on the hour, and on the hour it is suggesting that it is not overbought and that the momentum is still bullish. So it has some type of upside. When we go over the year chart, it's not overbought either, and it still has some bullish momentum. So with this being said, it is testing this 323 area. So who is to say that this is not to go a little bit higher? 315 is resistance over here. 315 is kind of resistance over here. And then we have some pseudo resistance over here as well. So I can only imagine that if it does come up to this 320-ish area, that it will go higher, right? The 50 EMA is definitely leading. So if this goes higher, anticipating it going higher to test the fours. So and I don't know if it will go any higher after that or if it won't. It's just mainly just based off of any type of news that would happen from there, including the volume. But I do see that this will have some type of upside. I think I would take one or two more. AQST. I'm not kind of feeling this, or I am kind of feeling this, just because of the momentum itself. The momentum is showing that that is down. Well, no, actually, the momentum is showing that there's some selling pressure that it still needs to be done, and that these two lines are below the x-axis of the MACD. Anytime it's below the x-axis of the MACD, I still think it has potential of going down. The 100 EMA is below the 200 EMA, even though there's a strong candlestick here. But the 50 EMA is over the 200 EMA. The reason why I even bring up the 100 EMA is purely because that there is some selling pressure still to be found here. So if I were to ever buy, I would buy somewhere around this 100 EMA price. But with that being said, technically this green candlestick has engulfed this red candlestick, and could go to test the $5 area if it doesn't get smacked back down. But there's plenty of room for upside. So this is one that I would definitely keep in mind for potential gains sometime this week, if not next week. But more or less this week. I think it would probably do something this week. The market would definitely have to be bad for it not to do anything. And then ASTC, probably the bane of my existence. I've tried waiting for some type of spike. I missed the spikes over here. I missed the spike over there. And I tried thinking that this spike would, well, this initial spike first was going to be anything like this spike or anything like that spike. And I thought that this spike would lead to something like this spike over here, but it didn't. We know by history that once it spikes, it definitely comes right back down. So if this were to spike up higher, it would probably more than likely spike like how it did over here, but maybe half of that. So I would think, probably around 432 or so, that it would go around there and then come back down. But the tendency for it to go higher is also there too. It can go to what, 560-ish. like I said, this green candlestick right here and this green candlestick kind of gives me an idea that it can go higher, but it is facing resistance at 330. So with the right amount, and I said resistance because you can see the resistance right here, right here, right here, right here. There's all that resistance right there, even a little bit right here and right here. Right? So we are here looking at the potential upside with this. Yeah, and I'm not sure about CBLI. I don't know yet. I don't really see it, but it possibly could do something, but I don't know. I don't know that. Because it did before. It spiked before, and I was in this, and I was waiting for it to spike. Yeah, I will show you. I was waiting for it to spike, and I remember getting out early because I was getting tired of it, and I just missed the spike by like minutes, if not seconds, right? So you see this spike right here, and it was just going, and you see all the green candlesticks. Look at that, and it was already overbought. It was already overbought at this point, but on the hour, we see that the momentum was just starting to get stronger and stronger until it got here. And now after hours, it spiked up a little bit more before coming back down. So, you know, really seeing a stock that's halfway between bullish and bearish. Like, so, you know, halfway is like 50, right? So, you know, 40 or no, 30 is the low bar, 70 is the high bar, 50 is in between. So that's where I tend to look at stocks to see if it's anywhere near that 50 or slightly above it. Once it's kind of in the 60s, it's kind of too late. Not all the time. It proves to be like that, like how it was in VXRT. VXRT went a whole lot higher, even though that once it was up, it was up, and then came back down, and then went up again, right? And as you can tell, I tried this quite a couple of times. I can just never get the timing right on this stock. I have struggled so much trying to get the timing right. So so I'll just wait for it to pull back before I even think about getting back into this one. But you know, I think that's pretty much it. I don't really see any other stocks that are on that EMA level. I think that, you know, we're at a good spot with MBIO, ABIO, AIKI, CHCI, AQST, AST. And I know in the previous video I mentioned some special private acquisition companies, so you know you can use that as technical references as well. So hopefully this helps. Yeah, just keep your eyes open on the stocks. On these stocks, there's always a new learning lesson here. So whatever we can do to increase our profits, let's do so. So, you know, let's keep it going, and happy studying. Oh yeah, and if you haven't liked or subscribed to my videos, please do so. Oh my God, like please join in, and I am always willing to hear your responses, particularly if it's not spam. But I'm always willing to be open to hearing your responses and your suggestions on stocks that you're trading. And if you have any questions that you want to ask me on what I think about the technicals on whatever chart that you are trading. So, yep, let's make it moving. Let's make it popping. Let's do it.